Hello and welcome to my exhibition at Go Brandle presents N.I.P.S. It's my university exhibition for my dissertation. Please come and have a look. I'll take you through. We start over here on the first pillar. Although you want to start on that wall, that's actually the end. So here you can see the logo that I've made from it, a little bit about the exhibition, which is an autobiographical photography exhibition examining working class imposter syndrome in the arts through the use of documentary photography about my time at university over about the past 5 years. And N.I.P.S stands for narcissistic, ironic, plagiarised success, because I think everything in this exhibition and my life at uni fits into one of those categories. So we move on to the first scene, which is camping. I spent a lot of time camping, a lot of time in nature, and also climate change and the whole catastrophe is very rife right now. So this was inspired by that me and Joel would go camping at the beginning of end of every single year as a sort of farewell to each other. So I've tried to make a scene where you have tents, chairs and a kayak. I would go paddleboard and he'd be on a paddleboard, I'd be on a kayak. And there's a few bits in there. Throughout the whole exhibition there's actually Easter eggs. For example, my jacket, which if you've known me since day one at the university you will know, but I'm not going to point them all out. But if you would like to pan down, Barney, we have a few bits throughout university. These are all the phones that I've had through university, and these are some Polaroids that I took on a very recent trip to the Isle of Skye. We went hiking, and I thought it'd be cool to take some black and white Polaroids just to show the journey, as this scene, as I call it in the exhibition, is the start of the journey of my university career. Like I say, there's a few little things as well throughout that I'm not really going to explain. You've got the metro tickets here, there's the kayak, and a map of where I'm from. So you have Middlesbrough, Hartlepool and Stockton with Redcar along the side. So if you're not from around here, you might not know. So this is really where I grew up, especially on Redcar Beach with like all the rock formations. It was really cool. But another part of university is obviously the nightlife, and Newcastle is one of the best nightlifes for university students on everything on TikTok, which you might have seen. So this wall is inspired by a nightclub bathroom. As you can see from this picture here from Alvino's, that I was in a bathroom and saw the mirrors covered in stickers, and I was like, wow, that's absolutely amazing. So I made this wall, so it starts from the nightclubs of Middlesbrough from when you first turn 18, and it goes through the pubs and clubs of Newcastle from Freshers Week to Time Bar, and all the little details in between. But I wanted to give a shout out to COVID, which took a few years away from university students at the time I was at university. So that's like an ode to COVID lockdown then, when I really started to take pictures in the mirrors. I thought wearing a mask in the mirrors were quite funny. Don't know why, but that's where it came from. And there's lots of little bits and pieces from here, like wristbands from nights out, artifacts from nights out, like menus and things. And that leads into Prism, which was my first event that I did with my master's course. And that was celebrating queer and female empowerment in the music industry, and I was the photographer and videographer on that day. So we have all of those pictures, the merchandise, posters, and on the night we actually had a big CD wall. So to sort of pay tribute to that, I've got a few CDs dotted around to sort of really bring it out and like give the wall a bit of shape, a bit of life sort of thing. And as we move on from that, we go into a piece that I like to call 8,000 hours. So this is every 3 photographs are from a year of university. I'm not going to go through the meanings of every photo, but each 3 is specially selected to represent that year as best I can. So like, for example, you start with the sunrise of Newcastle, the first gig I went to as part of the foundation year pictures. So if you want to like zoom in on them as we go past. So this would be foundation year. Like I say, sunrise at about 4 AM in Newcastle, beans on toast, and then a picture of the exhibition from the Natural History Museum. We move on to my first proper year, which is I suppose a back portrait of Aisling and Josh in between a house. This is representing the house that we used to live in second year, and we all moved out of halls together and the experience of that. Then third year was a very big one. This is from a trip to Ireland we had between the years, which was very significant for me. And then also I tried to look at how COVID and the journey into it and how much we lost of second year in those pictures, because lots of that year was completely gone. Then we moved into third year. This is quite a significant one because this is the first actual reference to university in my undergrad degree. This is my dissertation that I did in Captain America, alongside a few other photos that are reminiscent of COVID, but also just the bars and clubs. And this finishes off with my master's degree. So we have a picture from Baltic, where I did some experience for a few months. Another picture from Prism, which you've seen earlier in the exhibition. And this is sort of a tribute to all the people I've met on my master's and the networking that I did there. I'll follow you around, Barney. So this is a reference that the whole exhibition is actually about my alias on YouTube, @GoPrandle. If you've known me for any time through university, you'll know who GoPrandle is. And this is the first merchandise. This is sort of here because I think one day it'll be in a museum after I've sold millions and billions of t-shirts. That's right, Barney, millions. So it's a bit disgusting. This is what my sister created, but I like the idea of it being there because I do think, well, I'd like to think in the future it would be like something to remember. And also a bit of a shout out to GoPrandle. Then in the middle we have a few bits. For example, on this back wall we have every view from the X10. So the X10 is a bus service between Middlesbrough and Newcastle, and anyone who's lived in those two places will have been on it. And I like to think that everything in this exhibition, anything that's happened to me in the last 5 years, is a reference to it in the exhibition. And I think that this is a perfect example of the ways that I would go home, because university isn't just the time you spend in Newcastle, it's also the trips to and from home and what happens there. And as someone who loves documentary photography, I thought this was a really sick idea. So then we move on to this, which is the library card, and you can get a full 360 of them all, Barney. So this is all the books that maybe meant a lot to me in university, or I thought were really, really powerful, or I just think people who came to the exhibition may like to pick up like a copy of their own. For example, Mouse, that's like a really good graphic novel, probably one of my favourites. There's a few books that I've created on top, a book about documentary photography in the pie and mash shops in London, Okja, which is the film that made me vegetarian, and just a few other bits, like I say, really powerful books that I've read through my time at university. Which leads us onto this wall, which maybe would be at the beginning of the exhibition, but depending on where you walk around. So this is the first and last pieces of photography that I actually did at university. So these 3 pictures were part of a criminology essay about safeguarding in Newcastle. So for example, the anti-homeless things that they do to benches, lights, ways to get into student accommodations. So that was just like a little ode, that was never meant to be anything, it was just part of an essay. And then these are images that I created using chemicals and photo paper very recently when I was developing my first rolls of film, and I thought that was really cool to have like the first and last things that I created at this university about photography to have a part to play in the exhibition. Finally, as we come to the end, we come to every cinema ticket I've been able to keep. It should be through university, but it's also through my entire life since 2014, and I think this is just a really, really cool piece, and it's about, and I wanted everyone who came to the exhibition to be able to say, oh, I know that, or I've been there with Zach, or I was part of this journey. This is a very, very good place to do it because most people will have come to see a film with me, and it's about the cinema experience and what that means to me. And as you can see, one stands out. I'm not going to tell you why, but one was the most important that I've ever had. And we finished the exhibition with these film-inspired photos. So I took this beautiful picture of Mars and this beautiful picture of Barney. Almost a year ago, probably a year and a half ago now, and there's a few film and Polaroid pictures of them both dotted around, and I always wanted to exhibit these pictures, so I thought now was a better time than any. This beautiful poster is also made by Harry, my friend. This is when I shaved my head in lockdown. Not only do I love Indiana Jones, dressed up from Halloween, love the films, I just thought this is an ode to the memes and all the funny bits that you wouldn't normally see in an exhibition, and also it just grabs people's eyes as they walk in. But yes, that is @GoPrandle presents N.I.P.S. If you couldn't make it, thank you for watching this video. If you could make it, thank you for coming. I hope to have more exhibitions, so if you didn't make it, you'll definitely make it to the next one. And thank you for watching.